Okay. So, hi Hayley.
Hi.
We've had a bit of a break. We were right in the middle of the work, and then I had some personal circumstances going on, so we had to pause, but we're back and we're going to continue on with the work we were doing.
Yes, wonderful.
So it's really good to be back, and I'm really glad that we are. So you've had, well, it's been about, I don't even know, 6-8 weeks, I think.
Yeah, maybe a couple of months, I think.
A couple of months, yeah. You've moved house, you've had lots of things going, lots of change, and you've noticed that all these patterns are being triggered still again. So it's the same themes.
Yeah, and I've come back into the patterns have been triggered, and but there's a lot more clarity as well since the work we've done and this break, and now being triggered into these. I'm aware of what's being triggered, and some of the work we did, which was around this fear of loneliness and fear that my behaviour has caused who I am may cause me to be ostracised from a group, those kind of things, or from a unit. So yeah, and definitely the loneliness thing is, I live by myself now, which is great, but it also comes with and I work a lot from home, so it comes, and there's a lot of fear about the future. There is still there is some worry there, and so that's just triggered me. So I've been smoking occasionally in the daytime, 1, maybe 2, not every day, but I notice I'm triggered, and then a cigarette will help me to feel less, if it triggered some feeling, and I realise I need that, because then I'll feel less alone. I feel comforted for that moment, like a bit held.
Okay, so you can feel the loneliness, and that the cigarette can start to clear and change that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I know it's loneliness in that moment. I know.
Okay.
I know.
You know.
But in that moment, I'm like,
it's a craving.
I just need something. It's not even it's not like a cigarette craving. Like, it's the weirdest thing. It's that I need something to come to hold me in this moment. Okay. Yeah, and that's what the cigarette does, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll continue as we were. We'll just find the emotion of the body. We'll trace it back. We'll go into those memories, and we'll just keep clearing.
Right.
So we've had a bit of a catch up, haven't we? And we were saying how it can get really intense just before you clear something. The patterns can get more difficult, more intense, more scary, but it's a sign that you're on the right track and you're nearly breaking through. So it's how do you feel about that? Does that feel true?
It does feel right, and I know, because I know that's what I would say to clients. I guess exactly. There's an element within me that I feel disappointed in myself as well. There's definitely some part of that I'm feeling disappointed in and evaluating. It's causing me to evaluate myself of partly of have a lot of these tools, and why I haven't, instead of in that moment when I feel the urge to have a cigarette, I don't sit down on the mat and begin my japa practice or begin tapping, which I do actually. That's not true, because I actually do that 80% of the time.
Yeah.
But that 20% I don't. And that 20% makes me feel like I'm a really terrible person, or 10% really, like sometimes I get an urge to have a glass of wine or a cigarette and I don't. So I don't do it all the time. So that's not the truth that I do respond every time.
Yeah. That's the bit that sticks, isn't it? The difficult, the painful bits are the bits that we really feel.
That last little bit, So there is that element there, and just as I was saying before as well, previously, there is a kind of this admittance, I suppose, that I am lonely, and I'm fearful of being alone. I think they're two different things as well. And I don't normally speak about that. I don't normally even have that. I just get on with my life and everything seems, but it's quite difficult for me to be vulnerable in that way. So that's definitely
so that's great as well that you can bring that and talk about it. So even that's a shift in itself.
It is.
Great, fantastic, good. Well, let's just hands over our heart and just connect back in. Take a breath. Scan through your body, top of your head. And just notice how you're feeling right now. Any areas of tension, any heaviness?
Feel a bit, the feeling in my heart and maybe in my stomach of I feel a bit despondent, if that's the right word, of like, will I ever find the way for this to shift?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though I know when it does, it's just that, you know, when everything shifts, it's just done. But I'm just very tired from fighting myself. I feel really exhausted. It's a constant battle with, not constant, but it is a battle that I've had for many years, and I am tired of fighting myself in terms of these battles with cigarettes, or, you know, nights out, I suppose, where there's lots of cigarettes and things, you know, and boozing and those kind of things, you know, the old parts of me. And also the tiredness with really hating myself, disliking myself a lot, because I'm in this last bit of this cycle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So noticing that despondency in your heart and all those feelings and thoughts, and all of these patterns and all of these emotions and memories, the conflict, it's all a distraction from the deeper pain. That's what we're really getting to, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
So they help to distract you from that deeper patterning that the mind doesn't want you to change. So if there was a colour or an energy that would help to start to release this despondency, what would that be? What colour do you need today?
Bluey green. And there was just that feeling of the thing that just said to me was, well, if you let cigarettes go, then you'll truly be alone.
Okay.
And also cigarettes are a you know, are a link for having a experience with somebody. You know, a smoking corner, especially now, I'm in Spain, you can't smoke anywhere, so sneaky doorways. And yeah, just thinking I'm finding my feet with new groups. I'm trying to develop this is about establish myself more into certain friendship groups, and that's what's causing a bit of, you know, just make better friends with people and make more effort. And a lot of them smoke, and go in for that quick sneaky fag with them. Certain people makes me have that moment with them of interaction. They can see me and start to like me a bit more. And
and that's exactly those memories we were hitting before about those first time you're smoking and those teenage groups. So it's that kind of same feeling coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Although no memories are coming up directly now. I think we worked on them quite.
Yeah, we did.
We did do quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
so let's just tap for a moment. Hands over your heart, breathing in that lovely blue green. Feel that surrounding you. You can tap through the points, top of the head, and just through the points, and noticing this despondency. And as you know, we just follow the emotion. So follow that feeling in your heart, that sensation, that despondency. If that had a colour or a texture, what would that be?
I don't know if it's despondency anymore.
What's it feel like now?
Lost.
Okay.
Like there's like this sense of like, what the fuck? what else? Like, I feel like I feel quite emotional for both of these experiences. What else can I do? And what else can I do to be liked more and wanted more? And what else can I do to stop this? Because I am plowing away at it a lot. I mean, you know, do a lot of yoga, a lot of tapping, a lot of stuff. Like, what else do you want? I feel really angry about it. Like, what else do you want me to do? You know, why aren't I reaping the rewards yet? Because this is the big thing for me. You know, first of all, I've got I'm seeing it now, two aspects in this, what's the word called? I can't remember what we call it.
Conflict or?
Yeah, it's a conflict. So I go out and I smoke and I drink with friends that I'm trying to be more friendly with, and then I then smoke, and I don't want to smoke in front of them because I'm trying to be more authentic and who I am. And then I might over drink, and then I get in a cycle where I hate myself and I think they hate me. And then so I'm doing behaviors that I think link me with them, but then those behaviors only make me feel like I take one step too far sometimes. You know, I don't have the occasional fag with them. We'll go on then. I'm chuffing away all night, a couple of glasses of wine. I sometimes end up getting shit-faced, you know, and then I'm like, how have I been speaking about who I am and what I do? And then I'm in, you know, look like...
You kind of lose yourself almost in that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to fit in, and then that causes, the fitting in causes me more anxiety.
Okay, so let's find a recent memory where this was happening.
So I guess recently is this weekend. Yeah, I mean, I was out, like, no, not this weekend, a couple of weekends ago. I was out for I was invited along for a friend's dinner, group of girls who I get on with well, but they're all a really nice group, but I'm not part of the clique, and I know some of them quite well. So it was really nice to be invited. I had too much to drink. I was exhausted, and I felt like I needed to drink. I wasn't going to drink. I had one glass and that was it. I got wasted. I don't remember getting home. I had to check the next day. God, did I do anything really bad?
So let's go to the beginning of that memory. So was that
it's
before you went, or what feels like a good point?
Yeah,
to go
I'm
to?
trying to think.
Maybe
whether
it's afterwards.
It's the anxiety, and then also what's coming up is my ex-housemate who was you know, took great pleasure in shaming this kind of voice from her of like, I was really annoyed. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a bit clearer now.
Okay. No
it's like that my actions are so horrific that someone's going to die, or I've ostracized myself so badly. So now, the thing with my ex-housemate was that it was as if she would make a big deal out of everything you said, and sometimes I'd be like, I remember saying that, I don't know what you're on about, as if like what you said was really outlandish. And I was like, oh, I just talk, you know. She would lie, basically try and make herself feel better because she was continuously wasted. So she would try, one of those people that tries to manipulate situations. So I've lost it. But what it made me feel like was that the thing I've done, it reminds me of being a child, in that I didn't realize my actions were that bad. I didn't know what I did was that bad. So in a way, this is reminding me, because I don't have any memory sometimes when I go out, and therefore that memory space, I could have been, you know, I could have done anything. I could have, I've never done this, but like, you know, tried to fight somebody, or been really rude, or been really racist or attacking of someone. And I've never done these things, but I'll be honest, the back of my mind is this fear that I'll overstep the mark so badly that stuff will come out. Yeah, that's my fear. And it reminds me of a time when I was younger, when I think it's this time again when I realised my dad wasn't coming back, and I felt like saying, I must have done something, but I don't know what I've done. It must be me. I must have done something, but I still can't put my finger on it, what I did. There's no answers. What I did, it was so bad that he didn't want to come back.
Yeah. Okay, so you're using that feeling. Where do you feel that in your body, that energy?
It's like panic constant panic behind, like this layer of me behind my heart. This, like, I don't even know the answers. It's like when it just reminds me of like when friends have suddenly stopped talking to you, say, what have I done?
Mm.
Like, and actually, sorry, this is something I'm always like, you don't have it's where I kind of draw the line with people. I say, if I've done something to upset, they don't have the balls to speak to me and say to me in that moment, then that's it, we're done. From my part, up until then, I'll give you the space to speak to me and explain to me, so we can try and work out. If you just stop talking to me. And I've had a few friends do it to me over the years of being, 16 to 30, 40, well, I'm 40 now. I've had those times when suddenly they've ghosted you, and it's so painful.
Well,
So
again,
painful.
that's that exact same dynamic, isn't it?
I don't have any answers.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because there was nothing a baby you could have done. It was not your fault that he left. It was not your fault that he didn't come back. There was no reason.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess in the back of my mind, I can see myself now as this 2-year-old. I'm too scared to ask. Okay. Too scared to ask my mum.
So let's go and find that 2-year-old. Let's go and help her. So we've got all these feelings, this panic. So just breathing into that, breathing that lovely blue-green. Do you see yourself there, that 2-year-old you?
Yeah.
Okay, and where is she?
She's like walking away from the hallway where she's been, where she realizes that, she's been here many times waiting, just stood there waiting to see if he's gonna come back. Now this is the day that she kind of shuts the door on it, I suppose, and says that's it, then he's definitely, now I know he's not coming back.
Okay, so connecting with that little you, stepping into this picture. How is she feeling right now? What's she feeling in her body?
She doesn't know what to do. Should she ask? There's this the fear is the fear of asking and then being told yes, it's you, is so huge. So it's already, I can see it, this decision, the moment to put up the walls and say, it's almost, and it's not the right words, but well, fuck you, Dad, I didn't need you anyway. I don't need, now I know this is how I am, I don't need you anyway, don't need anybody.
It's that real kind of defensive and
I don't need to know if I've done anything, but then underlining that is absolute terror,
devastation.
That I didn't know what I'd done, so it must be that I really am a bad person, because if I don't even know I've done something bad.
So let's help her straight away. Let's step in, just connect with her, start tapping with her. So where is she feeling all of that in her body?
She's just numb. She's shut down completely.
Okay, so tapping with her, feeling numb. These walls going up.
These walls going up.
Feeling numb.
Feeling numb.
All these thoughts. All these feelings. Feeling numb.
It's she's split into part. It was a really big, you can see it now, it's quite a big trauma, that decision to cut my dad out of my life. Really hard. I've really fought my whole life, actually, just to, I've had the occasional time where I've felt like my father's daughter, and that's a truth, it's a feeling, so to feel like your father's daughter, know that connection, I felt it, and it's feels like coming home a bit. But in this moment, it's really I made the decision to shut my dad out completely, because he did it, I can't, he did it to me, I suppose, so I just had to put a wall up against him. It was really painful.
Just keep breathing and tapping with that little you, tapping into that pain, and start to move that through her. She doesn't need to hold this anymore. Just keep tapping with her. If there's an energy or a colour, or you could put her in a bubble, or she might want to bring a person or a friend into that picture. Maybe she needs a hug. Just keep tapping with her and being with her.
It's like she's in two parts, so there's part of her that's literally just collapsing into me, and then there's part that's solid.
Uh-huh.
Nothing's touching me now.
Yeah.
These two parts, which is really true of how I am.
Yeah, well, that's that conflict, isn't it, right there? So let's just tap with that. So these two parts. Just breathing into that. What does it feel like to recognize that? Okay.
Sorry. That's outside the bins. Just somebody must have knocked. Okay.
Right.
It feels. It's just such a known feeling. This conflict of like feeling that pain and wanting to say, but also having that fuck you thing. That defense come up. It's not fuck you, but it is now. Oh well. So not admitting that like. I'm in the loads of pain.
Well, it sounds like a defense against feeling the pain. Does that feel right? I'd rather feel this than the pain.
But how can I share that to my dad? Because he obviously is, he's decided he doesn't want me. So if I say I still need him, and I'm looking really weak. It's that weakness, like don't want to be vulnerable and weak and say I need you and you don't want me.
Yeah. So we'll just sit with her and we'll just keep working through these feelings because she's got you, you're there. Just keep tapping with her. Keep tapping. And just tell me what she's feeling in her body. What's the energy like? Does it have a shape or a colour or a texture?
She's kind of in these parts. So 1 minute I can see her against me. The next minute she's like sat against the wall, like just exhausted. And then the other part is stood up in this like rigid, with this like shield on.
Okay, so focus on one of those parts to work with first. Which part do we need to work with first?
The part against me that's really sad.
Yeah, okay. So connecting with that part that's really sad. Where is she feeling that sadness and all that exhaustion? Where does she feel that in her body?
In her head and her heart.
And does that have a colour or a texture?
Like her head is scrambling because she's trying to work out. She knows what she's about to believe and she doesn't want to believe that.
Okay, so just holding her, tapping with her. Is there anything you want to say to her as we clear this?
Just that I know that it's not this isn't the reality, this isn't the truth. Yeah, it's not the truth, but she...
Absolutely. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
She's not the reason he left.
Yeah. She can think differently about this.
Yeah.
Help her.
Okay, so let's just tap around on that exhaustion. So tapping through the points on her, all this exhaustion. And all this sadness. All this exhaustion. Yeah. All this sadness. Just feel that starting to ease and release. And I wonder if there's something underneath that needs supporting. Maybe there's a pain or another emotion, just to be aware of what that might be. And sending support.
She's just in shock. So there's like two parts. There's a part that's like was upset, and now she's just in. There's this shock. She's a bit like she's because she doesn't know how to process that what she did was so. She just, I don't know what to do with it. She doesn't know what to, like, where does she put, can't make, I've had this before actually, it's like, I just can't make sense of, she's never felt, this is an entirely new emotion. So she's felt happiness and sadness and all those things, but this is entirely new, and it's complete, like flabbergastedness about how to deal with it. She doesn't know where to place it in her body, in her mind. Her mind is just like, it's just going a bazillion miles an hour. So, and racing, trying to work out. I can feel, as I know, this feeling of anxiety.
Okay, so tapping with her, all this anxiety. All this anxiety. That's it. The scrambled mind.
The scrambled mind.
Don't know what to do with this. All this emotion. Never felt this before. You don't know what to do with this. You don't have to know what to do. Just working through this emotion. I'm with you. You're safe. You're going to be okay. This racing mind. This flabbergastedness. All this emotion. All this anxiety. Letting it go. Releasing it now. All this fear. All this anxiety. All these thoughts. Starting to let that go. It's time to let that go. Okay, how's she doing?
I don't know, visions keep coming back and forth. She feels, I don't know, there feels like there's a lot of parts here.
So let's build a container for all the, if you sort of step back a little bit, and let's build a container. Maybe you take all of those parts somewhere safe. Maybe you bring an energy into that picture. What feels right?
Guess I just need to see what parts are there. I've got like a, there's like a part that's kind of, is the defense that's like kind of waiting for the other parts to sort themselves out, really. Kind of join me.
So,
and then and then there's a one, there's a part that's just like sat against the wall. And then there's a part that's a bit better. She's like stood up. Like, it's not that bad, it's okay. 3 parts, I think.
Okay.
And then there's still a part at the door, waiting.
Okay. So in these moments of trauma, it can be like a glass shattering. You know, these pieces just break off and each one can contain a different emotion, and the mind is trying to stop you from feeling them because it's so painful. But as we start to heal each part and bring them back together, they're going to be stronger, they're going to reconnect. But it's these emotions, these parts that hold that out so you don't feel that now. Does that resonate? Does that feel right?
Yeah, there's a real fear of all of them. There's something between all of them that's like, if we all step in, and there's almost this, there's a need to do it, they can feel it. It does feel like there's something ready in them, but all of them are scared that if they take on this other part and then they admit that they feel that no one will really like them. I don't know, there's something of like,
some resistance in some way.
There's some resistance in it. Yeah, there is some resistance. There's a knowing and a need from all of them to step into this like whole experience. Actually, I can feel that quite strongly.
Yeah.
But as part of that, they are saying, well, what do I do then? Like, what about if suddenly when I show up and say, this is me, what about if no one likes me? What about if the truth is that no one really likes me? And
so just reassuring her there's nothing that she has to do, and in reconnecting with herself, we can do that in a really safe way. We can just keep working through those layers and all these different fears. So if there was an energy that would maybe hold them in a space together, would that be helpful?
there's a feeling of like wanting to step into a bubble, and then for that bubble to get smaller and bring them into one again, in this bubble, safe bubble, you know, of light.
Lovely. Lovely. So breathing that light, that bubble, maybe it's a big bubble around all those parts. And tap with each one. Maybe you can imagine tapping on each part, or an angel or a friend or someone with each part, just starting to tap all their individual fears and resistance. And just when you're moving towards feeling better, it's more of an allowing it to happen rather than making it happen. You okay?
Yeah, sorry. Sharp, just went back. Oh, yeah.
So just breathing into that. Is that okay? Is that passed? So the resistance and the fear is it's like misguided self-care. It can be. It's like if you don't, this happen, actually you know that when they're back together and you're whole again, that's what we're aiming for, isn't it? To reconnect these parts. But that has been a protection for all this time.
This real feeling about going forward in the world, and there's a feeling of bringing these parts back together and then still fucking up, still continuing to, and then I'm like, well, what if this doesn't work?
Yeah, okay. So let's just tap with that for a moment. So all this fear of fucking up.
This fear of fucking up.
What if it doesn't work?
What if it doesn't work?
What if people don't like me?
People don't like me. If I keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, all this fear.
All this, just, yeah, like this pain I have to go through for what? Maybe I'm better just to stick to cigarettes and food and booze, to just do it, like, just keep going through this all the time and it not working. It's kind of what I feel like, because I think it's worked. Another thing, I think it's worked, and then it's like, then I fuck up. And I fuck up so royally that everyone else sees. It's not even like I'm drinking and smoking at home. Most people have that, play their secret out alone, but I don't. I seem to, not that it's that, this is this other thing, is that I make out like it's the worst thing in the world, but there's always this toying between this thing of like, this is where my old housemate comes in, of like, well, it's not actually that bad, like, because anxiety makes you think that what you've done is the worst thing in the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you just got a bit pissed and chatted a bit of crap, and that's all you did, right?
Yeah.
The bigger scheme, that's really all you did. It's not actually the worst. Yeah. Then I'm making it out like it's the worst thing. But then if I don't, I'm going to continue on this path, and then it's going to get really bad. And I don't want it to get really bad. I'm so terrified of that.
Okay. So noticing all of that and coming back to this room with the full parts of you, we'll just keep coming back to her. And how's that bubble around her now?
So the bubble has got all of them in, these 4 parts. They're not quite, stepping in, like the part that's by the door. there's a part sat down, there's one part stood up waiting, and then there's a part sat down that's too scared to get up. There's a part by the door, and then there's a part that's getting, the one that's normally defensive, and that's closer than the other parts.
Okay. Just tapping with these parts on behalf of them, for them, on them. And let's just tap on all the sphere. All the sphere of reconnecting. All these parts.
Being accepted.
I mean, this is just a perfect example. It's accepting yourself, isn't it? I mean, that's really what's being shown to you. Because they are all you, all these parts. So all this sphere. Just keep tapping and allowing that process. Is there anything that needs to come into that bubble? Or an energy or a colour or communication, acceptance, love, peace, forgiveness, healing?
My dad can come in and be there as well.
Lovely. And what would he say to all those parts of you?
It's safe to be back together again.
And how does it feel for that little you to be with her dad?
Yeah. Nice. There's something. Something, I don't know. It's almost there, but it's not. I can't work out.
What does it feel like? What's that feeling? That there's something that should be
Feels
there?
like there's a part of me that isn't actually in this bubble, that's outside still.
Mm-hmm.
That's not playing. That's like gonna, that I can feel it almost behind me now. That part hasn't stepped in. I didn't know it was there. And it's basically, it's the part that's going to fuck me up. Okay. It's the part that's saying, it's the ego part of me that is saying, you can't stop these things. You can't. What else? What have you got left if you don't have them? You don't have alcohol and the cigarettes and the extremes behaviors, like over yoga and over all these extremes that step me out of reality and pull me away from being in the moment, like from being in the pain. If I don't have all of them, distractions, then it's basically that saying you're going to be screwed. Okay. Ego part.
So let's send, what does this ego part need? Does it need help, love, tapping, connection?
Part of it is made up of fear. There's a lot of fear there. Like almost like no, you're not taking me in. Yeah. So first of all I would have said it's just a nasty part, but now there's a lot of fear there. Yeah. Of like, the fear, the thought of letting go of any of my coping mechanisms is painful, is terrifying. Yeah. And I mean that in even like I was saying, to cope with the idea of being lonely and getting up and doing a workout, like where does that place come from? All the time, like of course I work out, but constantly, like as a distraction, or feeling like I can't just relax, because if I don't have some distraction, realise I'm suddenly really alone by myself.
Okay, so let's tap on this fear. So all this fear.
This fear of not having any coping mechanisms, and that I'll be all right by myself without them. So if I let them go, then it will show, then I will need more people to be around. I'll need to interact more with people. because I don't always show that, and I'll need to show that, and that makes me vulnerable to others, makes me look weak.
Okay, so all these thoughts, all these realizations,
the idea of letting go of instead of having that cigarette or eating something to distract myself, I started drinking cans of Coke recently. It's so bizarre. Or even having a coffee to change my state. All these escapisms from the moment.
Yeah.
But instead of just being in the moment and just saying, I do it sometimes, though I do stay in the moment.
Yeah.
It's not every time, but
you're just noticing those behaviours. And it's like a wounded animal, isn't it, that can get aggressive or can get hide in the corner. It's that kind of reaction, that sort of defence. So what it needs is healing and help, but it's kind of, stay away from me, I'm in pain. Does that feel right?
Yeah, and there's also this idea of like, well, if I don't have these things, then people have got to like me for me, and I don't know if people will, If I don't have a cigarette to have with them, or it's not even about drinking actually with people. I don't do that. In the flow of drinking, being boozy with people, so I do go out and not drink actually. So the boozing thing is weird because I will go out and not drink at all. When I'm in the boozy thing and I'm in this flow, I love it. I love that when you're all getting a little bit pissy over anything. I love being held in that space, and I feel really loved and warm, and we're all chatting and laughing. I don't ever want that to go, and that's why I overdrink in those moments, because I suddenly feel held in that moment with them. I love that feeling. I feel suddenly like I'm not alone, and we're all getting on really well, and because I'm ignorant, I don't remember all those other things, those worries. So I'm in this really lovely exchange of energy, of a little bit of pissness, and then I get a bit too pissed.
Okay, so bearing all that in mind and checking back in with those parts, this part behind you, how's that process? How are they doing?
Yeah, so the part that was behind me is now next to me. The part at the door is still a little bit away. It's like the bubble goes really long. The part that was defensive has stepped into the thing. It's like they're all going to step in line and then they're all going to come together. That's the feeling I get.
Lovely.
So that there's the main part, then the part with the shield is almost there. There's the part sat down. So maybe I'll try and get her.
What's her fear?
It's what all this means. I don't understand what this is. The part that doesn't understand what's happened or what I've done. I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember what I've done.
So she sounds quite panicky.
Yeah, she's panicked. So I don't understand what this is about either, because none of this makes any sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I literally feel like she feels like she's been dropped into a scenario, and like it's how I feel when I woken up.
Yeah.
And it's like you could tell me that it's like it wasn't me. Someone's made up a lie about it, because it's so alien. I have such little idea about what has happened. So in that moment, I didn't know I did anything, so I can't, so she's like, there is this wide-eyed panic with her.
Okay, so breathing into that panic. You can hold her hand, tapping with her, all this panic. All this panic. All this shock. All this panic. What colour would help to dissolve and calm her system, dissolve that panic?
Some blue.
Lovely. So breathing blue in through her head.
But then also just these words of like, you didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, there's nothing she's done. It's not her fault.
You haven't done anything.
You haven't done anything wrong.
This is not. You don't need to try and remember.
She doesn't even need to understand.
Just understand.
Yeah, she can just
okay.
feel good. She's okay. You've got her. You found her. It's over now. She can let this go. It's safe to let this go.
Yeah, I think that's true, actually. I've got her. I found her.
She's been holding this panic for all these years.
Trying to remember and not being able to, but there's nothing to remember.
Yeah. It's just done nothing wrong. There's nothing to remember. There's nothing to be done.
Nothing to remember.
You've got her. She's safe now. So you can tell her, I've got you. You're safe. You don't have to feel this anymore.
Nothing to remember. There's nothing you've forgotten.
Yeah, there's nothing that you've done.
That's another thing. The forgotten thing.
There's nothing you've forgotten.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes this comes up even now often when I work for people and I think I've forgotten to do something, and I will, if I realise I've forgotten, human error, I forgot to do that, I will then run through this replay of that they're going to tell me to stop working for them. They're going to tell everyone I'm really shit at my job, tell me I'm incompetent. I run through all of that.
There's going to be a huge backlash from that.
Huge, just from me stopping. I've forgotten to, anything basic, and I have to really work hard to get perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't make any mistakes. Yeah, it's forgotten. There's nothing you've forgotten. There's nothing to remember.
Haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
You're okay. I'm with you. How's that panic feeling for her now? How strong is it out of 10? What's it feel like in her body?
Yeah, she's better. There's just uncertainty about what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm. Great. So tapping on that, all this uncertainty.
Uncertainty. What's going to happen next?
What's going to happen next? All this uncertainty.
If I believe you that I didn't do anything bad, is anything bad then going to come and happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nothing bad is going to come and get you if you. And again, this is what I often feel after a night out. So it takes me so long to recover, because I think if I drop the anxiety, then poof, everything. And I think I come back to like, this isn't a big deal. Then I will suddenly be hit by the news.
So you're going to have some shock, something bad's going to happen.
So I have to keep in a state of panic, and almost prepared, panicked and prepared.
Okay. This is fantastic, Hayley. You okay?
Yeah.
Good. Keep breathing with her, holding her. How's the bubble?
It's getting better.
Just keep tapping with her, breathing in all that reassurance.
Yeah, that part that was behind and then next to me is just in front of me. I can see her coming in. There still is, for some reason, the part on the floor. Mm-hmm. Part of the part is left there.
Uh-huh.
Not all of it, but part of the part. And there's still the part that's against the door waiting for my dad. It's got like its back turned.
Okay.
And it's just like, don't make me stop waiting for him.
Okay.
I don't want it to, she just doesn't want it to be true that he's gone.
And that's that denial, isn't it? Because if I have to admit that he's gone, then I'm going to feel that he has gone, and all that loss, all of those feelings.
Yeah, like coming, that's it.
She's doing a fantastic job of protecting you from these feelings, but she doesn't have to do that anymore either.
Yeah, it's okay.
She's okay.
It's okay that he's gone.
Yeah.
Other things, like, it's not the best, but it doesn't mean life is. There's so much pain in her. It's so sad. I think have to experience that as a child.
Absolutely.
That loss of a parent.
Absolutely.
So
Devastating.
unfair.
It really is.
Yeah, there's a bit of anger there from her of like, oh, you know, the rage in her.
Okay.
Of,
So
this is
with
so
that.
unfair.
Yeah. All this rage. So unfair. So just keep breathing through all of those layers. Every time you acknowledge one and tap through it, you're going to start moving that energy through. And what amazing, incredible parts of you all of these parts are. So strong, working so hard, looking after you, just doing what they think's best, just trying to get through it, just coping with this absolute devastation. And it's time for you to look after them and bring them back. And they can stop doing that now. You're ready to deal with this, to face this. Does that feel true?
Yeah, I'm ready to be more whole in myself and stop needing these outside things to make me feel whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you feel more whole internally, that's the external shift will happen. I'm sure you've seen that in your work. Yeah. It's these parts that create those behaviors, isn't it? Rather than the other way around. It's the parts that create the difficult relationships, not the other way around. It's all about the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so nice deep breath and just checking in how you are, how these parts are. How many are there now? Are there still 4 or 5 parts, or are they coming together, or where are you?
They're almost all together. They're in like a bubble that's like shaped a bit funny. They're all surrounded by this light. Just really slowly. Some of the parts have got part of a part. Yeah, I don't know whether they might just need to be in this energy for a little while.
Yeah, maybe we don't want to rush anything, don't want to push anything. Maybe we can just contain this bubble somewhere safe so they have time to process, to get used to each other. They've been apart for a long time. So maybe that would be a really good place to take them now. So what would that look like, that container?
Just there, and I think just really just building this really strong bubble of like vibrating gold and white light around them.
Lovely.
Yeah, and this is time to just get used to being in each other's energy.
Yeah, perfect. And just check in with those parts. Is there anything else that they need?
I want to place a picture of me in the middle, a part of like of me, but me just now in that middle. So
Lovely.
I guess there's this sense of like them all coming into me, into my heart now. Yeah, and when they're ready.
Yeah, you can let them know that you're always there for them. They can get your attention, that you're coming back to them, that you found them, that they're safe. And it's almost like you're parenting those parts. Would that feel right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So just move away from that image and just see how that feels as you leave them in that safe place. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic. You can just keep sending them love. Know we'll come back to them next time. As you say, this is big stuff. So just need to let that process happen.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, I mean, I feel good that something has moved on with this, because this, I know this is the big, so this feels like there's really nice progress with it.
Good. And it's so clear, isn't it? Those parts are so clear, each feeling a different thing, each holding a different reaction. It's just incredible.
Pattern I'm in after every not just after boozing, but after anything that causes me a moment of anxiety of, this is the worst thing in the world. No, you're absolutely fine. Stay panicked. Come back to being fine. Trust. I'm just like, someone have to lay down on the bed.
Bouncing, so yeah, just
it's so exhausting. Yeah.
And each one of those is holding a different energy. So as we bring them back together, that's just perfect. It's just perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Such a pleasure. Just check in with your heart and that sort of despondency you had right at the beginning, that feeling of loneliness. How's that feeling?
It feels good. It feels really nice to place myself in there, because I feel like at any time between now and when we meet again, that moment's right. It will happen. You know what I mean? I'll experience it in the, almost like that click, you know, like with sometimes you do get into something, you're like, I'm not trying. I just am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's that sense of that, I suppose.
Because you can't manufacture that moment. You can't push them together. You have to just allow it to.
Well, the path, everything changes, and you're a new version. That's the gold with this stuff, isn't it? That's the.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it feels
Fantastic.
Good. Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Well done. That was amazing. Okay.
Thank you very much. Really lovely to connect with you again.
You too. And I'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.